So the NFL Combine is coming up next week in Indianapolis, and I want to know from the loyal viewers of this program, what do you want to know? We'll have an opportunity to catch up with General Manager John Lynch. We'll see if Kyle Shanahan attends. What types of content do you want to see us do here on the channel? Help out the show and share your thoughts with me down in the comment section right now. This is the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. My name is Jay Sr., and coming up here on this beautiful Friday, February 21st, we have a new Deebo Samuel report. A lot of thoughts on that. Could the Niners sign a stud linebacker for a team that's been their nemesis over the last couple of years in NFL free agency? And Brandon Staley is now the new defensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. Let's begin on the Deebo front. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, teams are checking in on a Deebo Samuel trade, and despite the financial issues the Niners face with trading Deebo away, teams are reportedly interested in the 2021 first-team All-Pro, who's coming off a down year in 2024 and looking to rehab his image and his game. Jeremy Fowler with this report here. I was told that several teams have expressed interest, so at least preliminary talks on a potential trade have happened between Samuel, his agent, and the team. Now, despite teams showing interest and looking to trade for Deebo, and it's easy to see why teams are at least putting feelers out there, Deebo has been a one-of-one weapon. He's a unique chess piece, a guy who can pick up a lot of yak. He's been a Niners team captain. He's put up some big-time production. He's played in some marquee games as a marquee player. It could just come down to this. It just being impossible for the 49ers to trade Deebo this offseason, and instead they might be backed into a corner in which they have to just outright release him. Because if Deebo is traded, the Niners would have to take on a dead cap charge of $31.5 million because they've restructured his deal after signing that contract extension going into 2022 after that aforementioned All-Pro season. It goes up to $47 million if he's traded after his March 22nd option bonus. If the Niners did designate him as a post-June 1 cut, they have two slots to use that post-June 1 designation. One is already going to be utilized on Javon Hargrave. They'd absorb a cap hit of $10.75 million, and then the remaining $20.8 million in dead money could get spread out and put on the 2026 cap. If the Niners are able to make a deal work, if they get back some decent value for Deebo, which I don't see it being higher than a fourth-round pick best-case scenario, here are the teams that could make sense as a Deebo suitor. The New England Patriots are really trying to give rookie quarterback Drake May a weapon going into year two. He displayed a lot of potential in his rookie campaign, and they are bereft of a lot of skill talent on the offensive side of the football. They also play in a cold climate, and they could be very fond of the physical stature of Deebo and the physicality that he'd bring to that offense. The Pittsburgh Steelers really want to get a number 2 wide receiver alongside George Pickens. That's why they checked in on Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel this time last year and during last offseason. The Commanders want to take advantage of Jaden Daniels being a young stud and being on that rookie contract. They have Terry McLaurin as a really good number 1, but not a bona fide number 2. The Miami Dolphins are a scheme fit because Mike McDaniel is there, and he helped introduce the wide back plays and role for Deebo during that All-Pro season. The New York Giants need a number 2 as well because they have Malik Neighbors, a stud rookie, going into his sophomore campaign. But outside of that, they don't have a lot of weaponry. And if Deebo wants more targets because he complained about that last year with the Niners, go to New York, lose a lot of football games, and you can be utilized a lot. Sean Payton, a fan of the Deebo versatile role. The Las Vegas Raiders in need of wide receiver help. So too are the Los Angeles Chargers. And we know that Jim Harbaugh is a proponent of playing smash mouth football. But the other issue that the Niners run into with Deebo, instead of teams taking on Deebo's contract and or giving him a contract extension, I think the smart play for interested teams, why not wait out the market to see if he's cut? And then you could get him at a lower number than what his 2025 contract could be. And you could kind of reset his contract to a certain degree. Because the decline in Deebo's play has been noticeable. He has that all-pro season in 2021, and he was one of the top all-around players in the NFL. And even since then, he's had moments where he's been such a unique looking weapon, but he doesn't run routes at an elite clip. He doesn't have skills to beat man coverage. You have to kind of force feed him the football at times to get him involved creatively by creating space so that he can pick up yak and then jet sweeps, handoffs, reverses. He's not really a vertical threat. During that 2021 season when the Niners started off 3-5 and then they turned it around and made it to the NFC Championship game, they did it on the back of Deebo. And that year he was great. And that's what helped him land that contract extension. 121 targets, 77 catches, 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns. He was also such a great threat on the ground. But then he signed that extension. He really hasn't been in shape since then and had a disappointing season in 2022. And he's been injured a lot since then too. Now in 2023, he had more than 1,000 all-purpose yards and 7 touchdowns through the air. But in 2024, it was the worst year of his career. The tackle-breaking numbers were down. The yak numbers were down. The explosion was down. And the touchdowns went all the way down to 3. He kind of looked like vintage Deebo against the Dolphins in one of the final games of the season. But all year long, with Brandon Ayuk out of the lineup, he was never able to step up. I still think he has that straight line speed, but does he still have the ability to make guys miss, to run through and over defenders, to pick up yards after the catch? Because that's what's made him such a special player and such a special Niner. So I want you to predict it down in the comment section right now. Where will Deebo play in 2025? Predict it for me down in the comments. And as always, we appreciate you for having a voice on this show. This Niners polo, it's an excellent deal. One of the best deals on Fanatics right now. It was $80. It is now $43. Nike, great material. I wear this for our watch parties. It's one of the favorite polos that I have. Head to chatsports.com/49polo. Get yours today while they're still available. We move forward on today's show. Last year, we saw the importance of Dre Greenlaw. We saw how the Niners defense really struggled without solid linebacker play outside of Fred Warner. And with Fred Warner suffering that broken bone in his ankle in week 4, he was never really the same. And so the Niners had a leaky valve at the second level of their defense. But could they solve that with Nick Bolton of the Kansas City Chiefs, a player who's been a thorn in their side for a team that has been the Niners' nemesis? ESPN pitted him as a good fit for San Francisco in free agency because this is an organization, especially with Robert Saleh, that really values the linebacker position. And I think that he could be a really fun chess piece for Saleh with him and his reunion with the Niners to utilize alongside Fred Warner. Good against the run, really good tackler, very physical. He's played in big games and has played very well in big games. The downside, though, with Nick Bolton is that the Niners are in a little bit of a financial crunch, even though they have about $50 million in cap space with the cap going up, and it could end up being more with more cap space on the way potentially, and then the Niners making other roster moves. But I think that Bolton is a very good player. But I think a team could pay him great money and give him more cash than what he's worth. And sometimes that's the realistic nature and the reality of what happens in NFL free agency. One thing is for sure, though, Bolton is a very steady presence. And if you improve your defensive tackle play, your edge rusher play, and then you team up Bolton alongside Warner, who both have great traits, great skills, great feel for the game, their football IQ is awesome, and they're very instinctual, you could shore up a weakness on your team with a player like Bolton, and it could ultimately become a huge strength after it was a weakness in 2024. One theme that you will notice in looking at the Bolton stats, tackling machine. He had 106 of them in 16 games played in 2024, 11 TFLs. That's the ability to sniff out the run and the instincts right there. You can use him occasionally as a blitzer. That's why I said earlier you can utilize him as a chess piece. He also had 6 pass breakups and an interception. His coverage stats in 16 games played in 2024, not bad either. He did give up a quarterback rating when targeted of 104.7. But again, I like the pass breakup numbers there. Big play machine. He had the scoop and score against Jalen Hurts in Super Bowl 57. He also had 2 touchdowns this year. So when you have a player who plays with good feel and can read and diagnose plays, they always seem to be in the right position at the right time, and sometimes that can lead to those splash plays, the plays that change the complexion of a game, which can result in touchdowns like that. And look at this. Injury plagued 2023, did come back for the Super Bowl, though, to beat San Francisco. Outside of that, he's been a durable player in his career. Rookie year, right from the jump, 16 games played, more than 100 tackles, 11 TFLs, 3 pass breakups. Sophomore campaign, an astounding 180 tackles, 9 TFLs, 3 pass breakups, 2 picks, and a forced fumble. In 2023, only played in those 8 games, but he was on pace for more than 120 tackles and 6 pass breakups. And then in 2024, he stays healthy once again, and the production there, as we noted. Here's what ESPN said behind the reasoning behind why Bolton could be a good fit for the Niners. The San Francisco 49ers coming off a tough year, but they are in a relatively good position regarding their roster as a whole. The main positions they need to address: offensive line, defensive line, linebacker. It is intriguing to put a player like Nick Bolton next to Fred Warner. He was the centerpiece of the Chiefs' defense and has the chance to be Warner's long-term partner in the center of the Niners' defense. We have seen that the 49ers place a high importance on the position, and Bolton could be the next evolution of that. He has 3 100-tackle seasons in his first 4 years and has also proven to be a nuisance around the quarterback. Versatile piece that feels like a luxury for the Niners, but he can get after the passer or drop into coverage. The thought of Warner and Bolton together in a defense will be terrifying for opposing offenses. So a lot of the things that I broke down, ESPN also echoing that and relaying it. And I know that a lot of people want Dre Greenlaw back. And I'd take Dre Greenlaw over Nick Bolton. I think he's a better player. But Bolton has been durable. Dre Greenlaw has not been. In 2023, more than 100 tackles for Greenlaw. In 2022, more than 100 tackles. And I thought in 2023, he played at a borderline all-pro level. But pretty much every year outside of that, since being drafted out of the Arkansas Razorbacks program, Greenlaw has been an injury-prone player. And Bolton is still young. I don't think the Niners can take a lot of risks on players who are ailed by injuries, and Bolton would not be that. So what is your level of interest in a player like Bolton? Scale it for me from 1 to 100 down in the comment section. 1, not interested at all. 100, very interested. We round out with this. I know a lot of people made fun of Brandon Staley as the associate head coach for the Niners and helping a Niners defense as an assistant under Nick Sorensen for a defense that was not good. But Deommodore Lenoir raved about Brandon Staley. He did work a lot with the Niners defensive backs. We saw Demo play at a Pro Bowl level. We saw Renardo Green in year 1 as a rookie second-round pick play excellent football. And the future of those 2 corners, very bright as we progress forward. And so Brandon Staley does deserve some credit for that. Now, did he do some stretches pregame that have turned into memes and GIFs on social media when he was the head coach for the Chargers? Yes. Did he have a bad stint as the head coach of LA? No doubt about it. But look, he was trusted by Sean McVay, an elite coach in this league, to be his defensive coordinator in 2020. Were the defensive numbers a little bit inflated because of COVID? Yeah, maybe, because stats across the NFL during that 2020 season were inflated, right? But he's also a Vic Fangio disciple, who Vic Fangio, one of the top defensive coordinators in the history of football, who just picked apart the Chiefs' offense like a scab, trusted Staley, and has been a big fan of his. Vic Fangio brought Staley to Chicago when he was the DC there. He brought Brandon Staley with him to Denver. And now Kellen Moore is looking at Staley as a talented coach who is going to be the Saints' defensive coordinator. And so don't judge mocking guys just because of what the social media talk is. I think that Brandon Staley can be a good DC for New Orleans. Do I think he's going to be a head coach in the future? No. Do I think he's worthy of being a head coach? No. I think he's perfect for being a DC. But he's creative, he's exotic, he's aggressive, and I think that he can do some good things with New Orleans. If you're still hanging out here on the show, I want you to type Real One down in the comment section because that means you lasted until the end of the program. And if you hung out for every single second, that means that you're a real one.